Let's take a look at him not being aware of the situation. Yeah, a body bag. How do you not know that? This is a golf cart with security, EMTs, medics, whoever, trying to get in with life-saving knowledge, tools, medicines, whatever, to get to somebody. And there are people just dancing on top of it because they're raging, they're wilding out, they're having a good time. If I see fucking red and blue lights, you can see that shit a mile away. He doesn't have a super dark arena. And even if he does have a super dark arena, you could still tell. But you can literally see this little ambulance golf cart is coming through trying to help somebody. And people are just like, nah, we're going to block the way. We're going to dance on it. I don't know what there is to say about this. I don't know where to say this is okay. Travis Scott encouraged this dude apparently to jump off the third floor balcony, the same one where the other dude was paralyzed. And this dude broke both his legs. Well, here's going to be Travis Scott now encouraging this young guy to jump, and he will jump, just for the record. That guy broke both his legs, by the way. Travis directly encouraged that behavior. Yeah, that's what he turned the lights on for. That's what he stopped his show. He paused his show to have this direct interaction, right? Couldn't do it for ambulance lights, passed out, dead fans. Couldn't do it. Anyway, let's go back to the interview where he claims he doesn't know anything.
So what did you know in that first video?
I mean, at that time, I think we just knew that, people pass.
All right, there's his first mention of saying directly that someone has passed away, that someone has fucking died. There's a whole lot of nothing otherwise that was said. Here's this clip. See the moment Travis Scott stops Astroworld because of spotting an ambulance. There he is saying, what the fuck is that? You can see the flashing fucking lights. And look, from his perspective, look what you can see. Look what you can fucking see. I want to go ahead and pull up this article for you. Houston Police Chief Troy Finner visited Travis Scott in his trailer to voice his concerns about public safety ahead of the deadly Astroworld concert, the chief announced Monday. This is Monday after the concert, I believe. A direct quote, I met with Travis Scott and his head of security for a few moments last Friday prior to the main event. I expressed my concerns regarding public safety and that in my 31 years of law enforcement experience, I have never seen a time with more challenges facing citizens of all ages, to include a global pandemic and social tension throughout the nation. I asked Travis Scott and his team to work with HPD for all events over the weekend and to be mindful of his team's social media messages on any unscheduled events. The meeting was brief, respectful, and a chance for me to share my public safety concerns as chief of police. A person familiar with the interaction told the New York Times the chief's concerns were specifically over the crowd's energy for months. Concert organizers braced themselves for chaos, knowing the rap stars' crowds could be difficult to control. Interesting. It's almost like he was warned, and it directly says, I asked Travis Scott and his team, which means he was directly aware. And as we looked previously in the stream, he has a history throughout the fucking years since 2015 of causing chaos at his concerts, and that his crowds are difficult to control. This was well-known information. This was even a conversation before this started. And still, 10 people died. You knew your concerts were chaotic. Your crowds were difficult. The energy to be careful of what you're posting, to be mindful, to talk with the police, to let them help. And you didn't. You didn't care.
How much do you feel a sense of responsibility for what happened that night?
Well, fans come to the show and have a good experience, and I have a responsibility to figure out what happened here. I have a responsibility to figure out the solution.
I would like to take a quick moment here to recognize that deflection. Charlemagne asked him what responsibility he has. And as we saw earlier, he denies legal liability in Astroworld tragedy and he wants the lawsuits dismissed. So this is him dancing around that because if he admits to any of it, all those lawsuits will become validated instantly.
Do you feel like you did everything you possibly could to help in that situation?
Yes.
There we go. Do you think you did everything you possibly could to help in this situation? He says definitively yes. Based on all the other video clips we've seen, the articles, how other celebrities and performers have taken control of situations where someone's been hurt or injured at their shows, I don't believe the answer is yes here.
I wonder, is there a way to even prepare for this? Because nobody, like you said, when you're doing the planning for a show like this, nobody is planning for this to happen. So how do you even prepare?
That is incorrect. People do plan for this. This study comes from the NCBI under the U.S. National Library of Medicine, National Institutes of Public Health. This was released December 18th, 2018. Just so we know the timeline. This was not released this year. This was not released in response to this event. Exploring the consequences of crowd compression through physics-based simulation. So this is using physics to essentially show the amount of compression a body will go through during crowd crush. Crowd crush is a thing that is not new. Crazy fucking formula to help you understand. All right, and here's a figure of us talking about these are 400 agents, different colors. What it should show is it would look like a wave where you'll see suddenly, usually from the back, and it will suddenly be the back people pushing forward to get closer. And what happens is all these people get pushed. So you get your hands up and you push the person in front of you to try and keep your personal space. Somewhere around here in the top 1/5 towards, like, let's say right over here is the stage, right? There's usually a gate of some sort, some kind of low barrier that essentially prevents you from moving forward. So you have this movement coming all the way from behind you. And suddenly it gets to this point and you are impacted. There's nowhere for you to go. So what happens? Well, you get crushed. So you guys were wondering how someone could suffer multiple heart attacks. This is how this stuff can happen. You are crushed over and over again, and your body cannot physically take the fucking pressure that is caused from you being forced. It is estimated that some 66,000 people were injured in crowd collapse and crowd crush incidents between 1992 and 2002. This has got to be the video. So, editor's note, the video contains graphic content. We have been warned.
Got sucked into this black hole, basically.
So that moment of the black hole, that's also correlating exactly with what happens when the bodies inside a crowd start to feel fluid, right? You don't have control anymore of where you're going. You are simply transported by the movement that is going through the crowd. So no one really has a choice. You're gone now. And if you fall, you trip, anything, you're under the crowd.
7 of those who later died were located in one area of the audience. 3 of those victims can be seen unconscious amid a pile of fans on the ground about 16 minutes into the show, which continued for nearly an hour. The review also reveals that minutes into Scott's show, that same section had pockets of extremely high density, according to a crowd analysis done for the Post. A surge toward the main stage would have compressed people into this area that had rigid metal barriers on 3 sides and left little way for them to escape the building pressure.
So if you have someone who's along this back metal wall, right, and they want to get closer because Travis is hyping shit up, whatever. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to rage and all this shit, right? So they want to rage. They want to get closer to the person they want to fucking see. So they're going to push forward. And what's going to happen? All of these people in this area in particular, because this is cornered, there's no escape here. This is the end for you right here if a crowd crush situation occurs. This was a huge problem, and this was probably something that the police department brought up to Travis. There's more people here than who you ticketed. And so therefore, when you have more people than what's supposed to be there, you have an inadequately prepared staff to handle those people. You got 50,000 people, but if you have all these people sneaking in, now there's way more than 50,000, and you can't account for who they are because they were never supposed to be there.
We actually wanted to get out. Like one of the girls I was with, she was like, hey, I don't want to do this. I want to get out. So we were trying to get out, but we just kept getting pushed forward and forward.
A video exclusively obtained by the Post shows desperation in the area immediately adjacent to Ezra.
I think you guys saw that right before, but this girl right here, do you see this? This is some guy's shoulders, and their body is back to shoulders are touching. Hands, she's trying to free this hand. That's why it's up like that, up on this other person behind. Everyone is packed like this. This is dangerous.
These fenced off crowd areas, they allowed nowhere to escape. It was one way in, one way out.
An emergency vehicle with flashing lights tries to make its way through the crowd in the east.
If everybody good, put a middle finger up in the sky.
At 9:39, with the concert continuing, the show ends around 10:12, continuing about 42 minutes after police first reported that multiple people had been trampled.
Took about 30 minutes. It's declared a mass casualty event. He still goes on. It was publicly being notated there was a mass casualty event, and he still went on.